Well,
it's a little bit after 7:15 on October the 4th. We had a pretty good cold front come through last night. It was mid-80s yesterday. Now it's only about 46, 47 degrees. So I figured it'd be a good shot to get out here and get after one of these bucks. I'm sitting in a deer stand we set back here in May. It's just a spot that we've had, good luck. It's kind of a highway for these deer in between a couple bedding areas and the corn field. So, my uncle just got the corn this past week. So they've been feeding a lot on that. Still some on the acorns. What's left, so I want to keep this up in here and hopefully catch one moving from the fields back to the bedding area. So hopefully we get a little bit of action going this morning. The buck I'm actually after today is high and tight. He's a buck that I've got 3 years of history with. He's 4 this year, and he's a great looking buck. He grew a lot from last year. It kind of surprised me because he's by the name high and tight. He's not anything too impressive. He's just a real tall rack. And he's a real cool buck. He's got just a huge body on him. So we have pictures of him a few days ago down at the bottom of the field. It was dark, but I think this gold front might be exactly what we need to get him on his feet during daylight. Maybe get a shot at him. So we're just gotta wait and see. good bucks that we know. The first one was Hank. He came out with a couple of young bucks. They were just kind of working the ridge, eating some acorns. They did a little bit of sparring, which was pretty cool to see. And the second one that came out was one I was really hoping to see. He's only a 3-year-old, but he's just being huge on our trail cameras. I mean, he just looks like he's got some great potential, so I was really wanting to see him in person. And that's a buck we call Triton. Now that buck at 3 years old showed that much potential. We got some pretty high hopes that he makes it through this year. Comes back next year, he'll definitely be one of the guys on the top of the list. So, you know, this cold front really has these deer on their feet this morning. So I'm just gonna sit out and wait as long as I can. I do unfortunately have to go back to work this evening, so just gonna kind of sit in the stand as long as I can, and hopefully we'll have one of the shooters around here high and tight walk by before too long. So I'll keep you guys posted. It's October 10th. I'm back out here in the stand I was hunting on October 4th. We just had another great cold front come through last night. Dropped the temperatures from about mid-70s this past couple of days down to it's about 46, 47 right now. It's about 7:30 right now. I haven't seen anything yet, but I'm hoping the movement picks up here with this cold front coming through. The cold front is going to keep continuing to drop the temperature over the next day and get down to the 30s tomorrow, so I'm definitely going to be hunting tomorrow and expecting to see a pretty good amount of movement tomorrow. I'm back in, like I said, back in this stand that was on October 4th for a buck I call high and tight. He's a buck I'm going after again today. You know, when I was sitting on the 4th after that cold front, I saw good activity, so I know this is a good place to be. And I did see those two great looking 3-year-olds Triton, and then that other one actually ended up being a buck we call Curly. It wasn't Hank. I thought it was Hank. You know, first glance, they're both typical tans, and both about the same size rack, but Hank we believe is a 4-year-old. That new buck we saw, Curly, we believe is only 3. We've only began to get pictures of him about last week, so I really didn't expect to see him here. In fact, we didn't see any pictures of him on this property until I pulled the card after I saw him then. So I had no idea he was over here. But it was a couple of great encounters, so a lot of activity, so I'm hoping that activity picks up a little bit today. So, but when I was out here on the 4th, the buck high and tight I was actually after was on this camera that we have set about 80-90 yards to my south on this cornfield edge, and he was there at 7:20. So, you know, I was pretty close. You know, while I was sitting here, he was there, so he wasn't too far away. You know, so I'm hoping today he decides to come through the timber rather than come out to the field. So, just kind of sit and wait. was not what I was wanting to have happen. It's never a good thing when you kind of spook deer. What I think happened with those deer is they got back behind me and they kind of caught scent of me because they kind of came through the trail that I took to get to the deer stand. So I think that buck kind of sensed that and got out of here. Now, when I first saw that buck, I actually thought that buck was hind tight. He has a very close resemblance in his antlers to hind tight, but he's missing a few things, an extra point, some kickers. So, but I didn't know that until he got close enough for me to really look at him with my bare eyes. But you know, I sat there and grabbed my bow and I was getting ready to, you know, once I made sure it was him, to take a shot. Once he gave me one, and you know, I don't know, I have no idea what buck that is. I've never seen him before on camera, and he's right there. They're still working their way this way through the timber. Maybe I'll get another look at him, but I don't know what that buck is, who that buck is, and I don't know how old that buck is, so I just don't feel comfortable taking a shot on a deer that could possibly be 3 years old. So that's why I didn't take the shot. He gave me a great shot at about 10 yards, but like I said, I was nervous to take a shot on a buck. I don't know that it's right on the edge. It could be 3, it could be 4, so hopefully they kind of walk back through here. I can get a better look at them, but I'm not planning on it. But we'll see. Well, guys, that was definitely not the shot I was wanting to make. I ended up shooting pretty high on him. Ended up spine shotting him. It's just not, you know, I'm pretty disappointed with that. It's not how I wanted to, not the shot I wanted to make, but, you know, mistakes happen. You know, I marked it out at 30 yards, and I think he was a little bit closer than that when he came through. But that's kind of the problem with self-filming, is everything had to be set right. You know, but I'm gonna get down and see if I can put another arrow in him and kind of put him out of his suffering and stuff. I hate to see that, so, you know, I'll check back in with you guys later, but, you know, I'm glad I got one down, but I really wish I'd have made a little bit better shot on him. Well, I just got back up. I was able to go down there and go ahead and put another arrow in him and whatnot. Like I said, it's just, you hate to see yourself make a shot like that, but mistakes happen. I mean, things happen. You know, nobody's perfect. I think what happened with me sitting on this ridge, when I was using the rangefinder, I think I ranged a little bit too far from what he was actually on. I think I ranged the next trail down from what he ended up taking. I thought he was gonna be at 35 yards. I bet he was only at 20, 25 yards from what I'm judging off right now. So, you know, even then, you know, I definitely shot still a little bit high. But, you know, like I said, in the moment, things happen, you know. I'm grateful I got a buck down. He's a great buck. He's a buck that we know is Hank. He's the one that I thought I saw last time I was in this spot. And he's the typical 10 that we typically see out here and whatnot. And he's just a great buck. He's been one that we've had on camera all summer running around the buck we call Rowdy. They're 2 4-year-old, just great looking bucks, and I definitely couldn't be happy right now. So we're gonna get down, we're gonna check this buck out. Well guys, just got back out here to the property. Had to go and switch my car out for the truck and pick up some help. Help me drag this deer out here. It's pretty muddy after all that rain we got, so need all the help I can get. You know, do that shot and me getting down and taking that second shot on him. I know right where he's at, so not gonna be a whole lot of footage from the recovery, but you know, that's how things go. Stiff now. Well, here he is. Here's the buck we call Hank. He got that nickname because we just started getting pictures of him this past year. We knew he was a good 4-year-old and didn't have a name for him. And the spot we were getting the most pictures of him was on top of the hill. So my fiance Kylie's like, well, why don't we call him Hank for Hank Hill? So it's kind of a funny name, but the name kind of stuck. He's a great looking buck. I couldn't be happier. He's definitely my biggest buck with a bow thus far. You know, and you know, I really thank God for the opportunity. I've had some great hunts here in the past couple weeks. For the few times I've been out in these cold fronts, and hunting over acorns has just been the hot spot for me lately. And you know, really getting after those cold fronts here in October can really make a difference. And whether you're having an October lull or sitting over a buck like I am today, I mean, one of the big things I like to contribute to this is the past few years I have been unsuccessful in harvesting a buck because I've had the mindset of only coming in to hunt the biggest and baddest buck on the farms we hunt. So I was only hunting one specific buck, and he was only out, you know, a few days of the year in daylight we were getting him. So, you know, he wasn't a very killable buck, I should say, but I still was only hunting him. I passed up many good bucks in the process, and I ended up eating tag soup every season for the past 3 or 4 seasons now. So coming into this season, you know, I changed all that up. I followed Jared along and on Midwest Whitetail through his quest, and
how he was chasing the killable bucks and talking about that and targeting those bucks moving in daylight, the mature bucks, and that's exactly my game plan and what I've been doing all season now, is just chasing after any mature buck I have on the farm, no matter the size of his rack, you know, no matter anything about him, as long as he's a mature 4-year-old or older and he's moving in daylight. That was the buck I was hunting. And on this farm, the two most killable bucks were Hank and a buck we call High and Tight. So it was kind of a toss-up which one I was going to see first, and it turned out to be Hank today. So, you know, I couldn't be any happier. He's a great looking buck, and you know, I'm happy to be able to take a buck like him. So